Thank you, and I'd like to call forward several students. Here would Cammie McFall and Symi Miller and Taft Parsons and Adrian Corrales and Jay Snyder. Please come forward. Seniors Cameron McFall and Symi Miller collaborated with a team of students from the Black Student Union at Seaholm, as well as with administrators and teachers, to create a theme, Seaholm Stands Up, and then subsequently a presentation for the Martin Luther King Assembly. This year, the assembly was delivered via the classroom through a PowerPoint presentation that included readings, performances, and recordings. Cammie and Symi found inspiration for this year's MLK Assembly theme through the John Legend song, Glory, specifically the lines, "Freedom is like a religion to us. When it go down, we woman and man up. They say stay down and we stand up. Shots we on the ground, the camera panned up. King pointed to the mountaintop and we ran up." Cammie and Symi then collaborated with our graphic arts teacher to design a t-shirt for the event that included on the arms, "They say stay down" on one arm, and then "we stand up" on the other. Our theme became Stand Up, and our essential question became, "What do you stand for?" which resonated throughout the speeches and readings in the presentation. Please listen to the following short clip, which encapsulates Jay Snyder's answer to that essential question. Her compelling words resonate with us all.
Well, Kayla, that was an outstanding speech. Absolutely. Let's keep up the momentum with hearing what Jay Snyder has to say about people standing up in our community. We often think of the civil rights movement as a long time ago. Pictures in black and white, printed into textbooks as if it was of the past. We often think that the world has stood up, said its piece, and resolved the issues, and that it was all over. The fight was finished. But that's not true. And though it was around 77 years ago, as of right now, the civil rights movement is more alive than ever. Schools were only desegregated in 1954. That's the exact number, 67 years ago. Restaurants were desegregated in 1964, 57 years ago. So these numbers can feel large and far away. They're closer than we would want. In fact, many of our grandparents would have seen the change happen. They watched as the world stood up for us, for everyone. I've seen people stand up before. Like when I was in 3rd grade, I vividly remember being one of only a few black kids in my grade. There was a girl in my class, taller than me, different hair than me, wore different clothes than me, but yet we were often confused for one another. Many teachers would attempt to tell us apart, but it was difficult for them. However, one made the effort to learn who we are as separate people, as persons, our hobbies, our dreams, our hopes for the future. Our identity mattered, so in turn we matter. That teacher stood up for me. This past year, the Black Lives Matter movement was for racial justice. People came together. Over the loss of the brothers and sisters in our community, these difficult events not only took a toll on me, but the people around me, friends, family, teachers, students, schools. Their lives mattered. Their personalities mattered. Their families, their identities, everything around them, who they were, it mattered, and still does. My community showed up in its support of those around me, in our fight for equality. I saw firsthand how those around me used their privilege and resources to help. Offering to help with protests, offering food, emotional support, and a place to make myself heard. The world stood up for me. But when no one stands, hurt can happen. The hurt happens not only on the outside, but on the inside too. Children feel ashamed of their heritage, their color, their race, the food that they hold dearly to them. Teenagers try to change who they are to fit in. Adults renounce their culture and attempt to be one like everybody else. When no one stands against racial stereotypes, they persist. When no one stands against racism, they persist. When no one stands up, there are people getting harmed, hurt, and killed for the color of their skin. The silence hurts. The silence kills. However, when one person stands, the rest will follow. Martin Luther King Jr. was the driving force behind some of these changes. This day is set aside to honor what he did, not only for the Black community, but for the world. He stood up for you, he stood up for me, he stood up for all of us, no matter who you are. And not only did he stand up, our community stood up. Our Black and Indigenous sisters and brothers stood up for us as well in solidarity to show that we were not alone. The civil rights movement is not over yet. In fact, it has only yet begun. The work that Dr. King did is not forgotten, but built on. We get to enjoy the fruits of a garden that he planted, but we cannot stop there. We must continue to sow the seeds of yet our own garden. Dr. King planted those. We must keep it growing to make a safe, better future. I want to leave you all today with a quote that stuck with me. It says, "To say nothing is to side with the oppressor. So I urge you, stand up, say something." Thank you.
Beautiful and very well put. Hold on, stay for a second here. We would also like to honor the following students for their work for celebrating and educating the Seaholm community during Black History Month: Adrian Krause, Cami McFall, and Taft Parsons. These students researched, organized, and made presentations to students and staff on Thursdays during the month of February at both A and B lunch. The audiences filled the media center, including teachers and staff. Adrian presented on the topic Rooted in Blackness, the Evolution of Music. Cami's topic was Beyond MLK, Black Revolutionaries in America. And Taft's topic was Experiencing Black Art and Artists. Seaholm thanks these fine students for their contributions to the learning and intellectual growth of our community with these exceptional presentations. Their ownership of their learning, their leadership demonstrated by sharing with their Seaholm peers and staff have enriched us all.
A fine example of student leadership. Thank you so much.